Hey everyone, welcome to Dit Dot. My name's Amanda. If you're new here, welcome to my kitchen. I'm always getting up to some fun cooking adventures. And if you've been around and you've watched several of my videos but haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure that you do take the time to hit subscribe so that you can be one of the OGs and get me to my first 1,000 subscribers. Now, today is really exciting. For my birthday, my husband bought me a cookbook. And it's kind of funny because everyone knows that I don't cook with recipes. But this isn't just any cookbook. This is Final Fantasy XIV Cookbook. Now, I'm not a gamer, but my husband and my kids are. So my husband got me this cookbook and he wanted me to try out some of the recipes in this cookbook. And I gotta say, at first I was like, okay, that's an interesting concept. And I was flipping through this and I'm really excited about this cookbook. Not from a gamer perspective, because like I said, I don't really play, but I do love hearing my kids and husband and their bond over video games. But some of the recipes in here are just really cool. So I am gonna start with one of the easier ones today, Honey Muffins. But let me show you some of the things in this cookbook. So here it is, the ultimate Final Fantasy XIV cookbook, the essential culinary guide to Hydaelyn. And the front is a really pretty map, and I'm not going to show you, everything, but one of the things that I really like is there's a lot of unusual ingredients in this book, and so this front page kind of talks about some of the ingredients that you might not have heard of before. Some of them I have, like fish sauce and miso and nori, but a lot of these things like jashinko, which apparently is a specific type of short grain rice, is not anything that I have heard of. So I really think it's cool that there's lots of new things for me to learn in this cookbook. The original recipe I was gonna do was this bacon bread, but you end up, when I was reading through the recipe, you boil the bacon, and I was just like, I can't do that. But let me know in the comments down below if you've had boiled bacon and you don't think that sounds weird. Please let me know, and maybe this is one that I will try because it does look really delicious. But one thing I love about the book is that it's got gorgeous photos. I think there's a photo for every single recipe, and for me that is a winner in any cookbook. The pages are just super nice, and there's really some fun, unique meals that the average American kitchen has never had. But oh my gosh, like this pan-fried mahi-mahi, like sign me up. This one is a deep-fried like pork chop, but it's got, certain seasonings that are gonna be a little bit different than what we used to. So what I'm doing today is this honey muffin. It's pretty simple. The thing that makes it more unusual than what we might find in some of American muffins is the addition of cardamom. Since I love curries, I happen to already have cardamom, so we're gonna give this honey muffin recipe a try. So let's start cooking. All right, first things first is we're going to start with making the crumble top. I love a good crumble top. So we're gonna take 3/4 cup of old-fashioned oats and put them in a bowl along with 1/3 cup of brown sugar. If you don't have a brown sugar bear, make sure you get one. I'll put a link in the description box below to Amazon. These keep your brown sugar nice and soft. So when you're ready to bake, you're not like taking an ice pick to it. Gonna go ahead and, this is funny. I'm gonna try to follow this recipe as best I can. Well, does this one call for milk? Yes, this one calls for oat milk, but I'm just gonna sub in my regular cow's milk. See, I'm incapable of following a recipe. It's not in my DNA. Okay, so we're going to put in the brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of flour, the 1/2 teaspoon of cardamom. If you've never cooked with cardamom, I would recommend getting some. It is really a fragrant, like it goes well in savory and in desserts, and it just smells so good. I actually like putting cardamom pods with like some orange peel in the back burner of my stove and letting it simmer, and maybe put a cinnamon stick in there. Oh, talk about beautiful smells in your house. And then this is 3 tablespoons of butter that I cubed up, and we're gonna put in here. And now I'm going to use one of these butter cutters or pie. It's got some kind of fancy name. And start working this in. Oh yeah, and it needs 1 tablespoon of honey. Look, I'm actually measuring. Normally I would just, squirt some stuff in here. Actually, what I should have done for this honey was to spray my tablespoon with some cooking oil spray. Then the honey would glide right out. But I forgot to do that. And it's really cold. So I'm actually surprised my honey is still kind of liquid at all. Because I live in the Pacific Northwest and we're pretty chilly up here today. I'm going to cut this in until the butter and all the ingredients incorporate. Oh, if you don't have one of these cutters, you can kind of mash it up with a fork, or you can use 2 knives and kind of go like this, and it's called cutting in your butter with the 2 knives rubbing together. But this tool is really useful if you don't have a food processor. If you have a food processor, you could throw this in the food processor too for a couple pulses, but I figured this isn't really worth getting out my food processor. All right, so this is a crumble, so you do want it to have fairly large pieces, but we're gonna take this now and put it in the refrigerator. You can go right up here next to my pickles. Okay, so now onto the muffin batter. So it says in a smaller bowl or medium-sized bowl, we're going to mix together 2 2/3 cup of flour. So that's what I have in this bowl. Half a teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of baking powder. I love this one with the lid that has the scraper built in. So perfect. Okay, 1 tablespoon of baking powder and 1/4 of a cup of sugar. So I have my sugar bowl, and I always keep a measuring cup in my sugar bowl. Do the same thing with my flour, because since I don't usually follow recipes, I just want something in there that I can just scoop when I'm just guessing out amounts. But that one happened to be 1/4 cup. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and incorporate these dry ingredients before we move on to the wet. In a larger bowl, we're gonna take 1 cup of milk. Now, the original recipe did say oat milk. I'm using cow's milk. 1 egg, a teaspoon of vanilla extract. This is a half, so I'm gonna do 2 of them with a little extract because I love vanilla. I've got 1/4 cup of melted butter that's cooled down just a little bit because we don't want to scramble our egg if you put hot butter on top of that egg, instant scramble. This time I am going to spray my honey jar, and hopefully I have 2/3 cup, otherwise I gotta find some more honey in the pantry, which I do have. It's just hard, it's solid. Honey will sometimes go solid at room temperature, so then I'd have to melt it by sitting it in a pot of boiling water. Okay, this is gonna take all day because, slow as, well, not molasses, honey. The saying goes, slow as molasses in the wintertime, but slow as honey in the wintertime too. There we go, almost to the top, perfect. And I have a little bit left over even yet. So put down in the comments, have you ever played Final Fantasy or any of the versions, Final Fantasy XIV or any of the versions? And if so, what do you like about it? Are you a gamer? Gaming is a huge industry these days. And as a homeschool mom, I gotta say, I actually love that my kids are into gaming. It has taught them so much vocabulary words, map skills like crazy, strategizing, how to read rules. Video games sometimes get a bad rap, but nope. They actually are quite educational. So I'm gonna whisk this together and try to get it as smooth as possible. The honey was, like I said, it was really cold too, so it's not wanting to incorporate, but I'm gonna go at it as best I can. Now, I haven't looked all the way through this cookbook, but it does seem like most of the recipes don't rely on a lot of food processors or mixers. Like, they're written so that you can do everything by hand, which I think is kind of cool. I like technology sometimes in the kitchen, and sometimes I do like doing things old-fashioned by hand. All right, it says to do this in 2 batches, so I'm gonna pour in half of my dry ingredients, incorporate them, and then we'll pour in the other half. It smells really good. I can actually smell the honey. I'm surprised there's no cardamom in the batter too. See, if I was doing my own thing, I'd probably add cardamom in, but you know, I'm trying to follow a recipe today, guys. So I'm gonna whisk this until it's smooth, and then we'll get our muffin tin prepped. Don't wanna over mix. This is really thick batter. I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna make some really good textured muffins this way. A lot of times when I'm being really quick, I will make blender muffins, which is a very thin pourable batter, but they have more of a consistency of a pancake, sort of like they're, and I think this is gonna be actually a better textured muffin. I think the kids and I are gonna fight over these. Oh, it smells so good. I'd want to put cinnamon in this too. Okay, see, I always overdo. That's why following recipes can be good. Okay, so we want to spray or butter your muffin tins. This is supposed to make 12, so let's see if we can evenly disperse these between 12. I love this cookie because it makes dividing up dough really easy. I've got 3 different sizes. I'll see if I can find these on Amazon and put them in the link too, description box. Hey, it made 12 just perfectly. All right, let's grab our, of course, it's not actually baking if you don't taste the batter, right? That's good. Let's grab our crumble and put it on top. I'm gonna start with about 2 of these spoonfuls on each one, I think. It's my favorite part, so I wanna make sure there's plenty. Uh-oh, I just spilled some. Here comes the dog. You hear his clicky click nails? Cleanup duty, aisle 4. He's quick and already back into his bed. He's like, Mama, I'll get it clean for you. Oh yes, a recipe that actually gives you enough crumble topping to be generous with it. I approve. This is awesome. Okay, so I've been preheating my oven to 375. So I'm gonna pop these in for the 20 minutes it says, and we'll be back. They're out of the oven. So as you can see, some of my crumb topping spilled over. I don't know why that happened. I pulled them out and gave them enough time to cool. So let's see if we can pop these out and then give one a taste. All right, wish me luck. Let's see if we can get one of these to slide out. Oh yeah, that popped out really nicely. All right, well, I'll pop these out and then we'll taste one. So I gotta tell you a really funny story. Just as I was setting up to film this section, got a knock on the doorbell. There was these kids from the neighborhood that stopped and knocked on the door to tell me that my husband's Dodge Challenger was their dream car. So he's just winning big in this video. Anyway, here we have the Honey Muffins from the Final Fantasy XIV Cookbook. Make sure you comment down below if you want me to try any of the other recipes in this book. The crumb topping that fell off is so good by itself. It almost just tastes like a candy brittle. So, all right, now let's taste and see what the texture of these muffins are. It was really good. Of course, you know I love the crumb topping, but the inside is really soft and it's not too sweet. I really love the honey. I mean, the honey just shines through this recipe. I am very pleased, and I've actually, the smell has wafted upstairs, and I've got the daughters circling and they're like ready to try these muffins. So I'm gonna say, make sure you smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye. Do you want a cameo?
I don't totally care. I do not care.
Look, it's a wild daughter in the shot.